Well, as you know, my name is Rita Brennan. Um, my mother came from Athan, just outside Cappaquid. My father was from Medeliga. Now, how they actually met, don't ask me. That's not here nor there. But,
what was your mother's name?
Pardon?
What was her name?
My mother's name was Fitzpatrick before she married. My father was Brennan and actually where I was born and reared was the lodge out in the county home. The hospital lodge. When you go in the gate now, the gate is still there. On the right hand side, our house was there. Small little house, kitchen, 2 bedrooms, 5 of us, mother and father.
And did your dad work there?
My dad was the porter. He was the porter, and he kind of worked the district hospital as well. That's over now where they're building the new the primary care centre. We were all actually born out in the lodge, born and reared.
And can you remember being there when you were a child?
I can remember. I can. Actually, part of my father's job was in the older back then in the older days. What happened was, say, homeless people. If you were around the area for maybe a day or two or a night, you could come out to the county home and stay the night, and you might get a breakfast next morning. There was a lot of old men, mostly men actually. They were there for years and years. Sure, we knew them all, and we used to mix with them, and they'd come up to the lodge and maybe ask my brother or myself or whatever, go up to Alice McGrath's. There's a shop just up the road. They might want a clay pipe or a box of matches or whatever. And the odd time you'd get the odd one, they'd come up. They used to come into the lodge. They were like family, a lot of them that were there years. If there's tea going, they'd have a mug of tea or a cup of soup. And at Christmas time, actually, when you're on the way down, I can see on this side, on the right hand side there was the death house, the mortuary. Then on the left hand side, they used to call it the workshop. But at Christmas, we used to go down to Powers Brewery. It was down the end of the road where the houses are now. We'd buy a couple of crates of bottles of beer, porter, and soft drinks and that. We go down, buy and pay for them. On Christmas Day, we'd have them all down the workshop, and sure, they'd come up, my brother or whoever was there, they'd come up and I want a bottle of porter, I want a bottle of whatever. We'd give it to them, they'd pay us. We were never one halfpenny out in. But like, they couldn't go out themselves and get it. It was just a little thing we did for them on Christmas Day. And actually the farm, we used to call it, was down the end. The old graveyard is still there. But they used to have turf and blocks and everything. We got all our bits of turf and bits of firewood and everything down there. And the ambulances, if there was a call came in for the ambulance, so-and-so is after having a little accident out the road, my father had to organise the ambulance, collect them. And sure, there was a character living down the road and my brother. 2 of them are dead now. It was actually in the ambulance one my brother learned to drive. My father saw the ambulance coming up from the end of the headland one day. He looked, he says, I didn't get any call for the ambulance. So here was my brother behind the wheel and his mate sitting next to him, and he, all it was, you know, we never had luxuries, but we were never hungry or we were never cold or, you know, we had, there were good times.
But the poor house would have been associated with like very bad times for people in Ireland. I mean, you know, go back to the famine and all that kind of stuff. It always had a...
Yeah, but I kind of, from that time, like from, I say, the famine, it kind of progressed a little bit from that, from then. There was... well, look, will you take any notes?
Don't mind it.
He'll settle in a minute.
But was it a nice place to grow up?
It was. I'll tell you one thing. Looking back on it now, you see, we knew nothing else. It was good, and like everybody else, all our mothers and fathers wanted was the best for us, and once there's a fire in the grate and food on the table. We had no washing machines then, or we had no fridges or anything else. I can remember my mother at the, say, our house was here, at the other side of the gate. I can remember my mother with a sawdust fire. Do you ever hear of this? A pot of, a big, you know, an oval pot up on the sawdust fire, boiling clothes, another pot and an old table alongside when the clothes are boiled, a stick, lift them out of, into that, all those. And another thing I remember, Jack Lynch's fruit. Jack Lynch, Lord mercy them. Fruit and veg. Of a Saturday night, when he'd be after closing up, if he had any fruit, fruit, bananas, oranges, tomatoes, anything like that, he'd come out to the counter room, he'd stop at the lodge, if you want tomatoes, whatever we'd, and then he'd go right down to the body of the house. He'd go right down to the body of the house and give him the rest of the stuff. Now, he used to come regular every Saturday night, but any Saturday night that he had stuff left over, and if one of us better come, hi lads, Jack Lynch is coming. It was brilliant, because being honest, I suppose, them times you couldn't go into town and buy a bag of tomatoes, a bag of bananas and a bag of oranges and a bag of everything and have it for the weekend. You know, it was a treat. Yeah. It was a treat, actually.
And come here, would the house, would the home, would it be busy when the market was on in town or not? Would it be more busy at that stage? You know, like say the horse fair or you know.
You would get more stragglers, like they'd come maybe to the horse fair, as you said, or the fair used to be held in town then. There was cattle and sheep and pigs and all over the place. You would get maybe more of a volume of people coming out then, but they'd go away the next morning.
They'd be travelling around.
Yeah, they'd go off again the next morning. But no, we had a happy childhood. As I said, that's the way things were then.
And where did you go to school?
Went to school in the Presentation Convent. It was Mercy nuns actually were out in the county home. And I remember the Presentation Convent, as you know where it is now, and the Mercy Convent was down Short Street. They have a little. For, I think, the first couple of years we went to school, we went down to. We used to walk past the presentation down to the Mercy. Probably, I'd say, because it was Mercy nuns were outside. But all of a sudden, I don't know who decided, to hell, what are we doing this for? So we basically went to school in the. We might only have went to the Mercy maybe for one year. Went to school in the. Went to school in the presentation.
And what was your memory of primary school?
Pardon?
What was your memory of primary school?
Sister Cartish and Mother Dominic and Sister Margaret Mary and Sister Conception. We used, there'd be days when we'd have to go over to the actual convent from the school. Piano lesson, Sister Cartledge, and she put this, what was it? Metronome or something up. Sure, there wasn't even a spark of a pianist in half of us, you know. The baby room, there was a little the glory hole they used to call it, under the gal, like if you were bored you put in there. Sure, I'd have had now to. I suppose if like a lot of people my age, if we stopped and thought of it all, we could write a book. I know. I did my. Actually, back then, I think we were doing leavings. There was only 2 of us in the leaving class.
So you actually did your leaving, sir? That would be unusual back then, wasn't it?
It was. I remember one day, Sister Margaret Baird and 2. No, there was 3 other girls, I think. And they were strict. Sister Margaret Mary, she'd, in the back of the shoulder with the knuckle. I can remember, maybe one of the lads now, one day anyway, she was, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't have done that. And I threw a book up in the desk in front of her. I got into wicked trouble over it. There was no 40 and 50 and 60 pupils doing tune a certain leaving certain. I suppose I can read and write anyway. And I suppose maybe it stood to me in the cinema. I was able to,
And then what was your first job after school?
Wow. The first one. I worked in Curtin's Hardware in the square for a while. I worked in the Criterion. It was somewhere around now where the pawn shop, in Mary Street was. I worked in A. Maloney's down at the beginning of Lower Main Street. Actually, Dan McCarthy has a shop there now. I worked there. Oh God.
And what was your memory of the square at that time? What was it like?
I can remember well the Way House. I can remember the Way House well, and the old post office. If you wanted to go into the old post office of a day that the fair was on, they'd have, we say that's the door of the post office, they'd have a chain here and a chain over there, but you would still have to manoeuvre a cattle or a cow or a sheep or something to get into the post office, plus the decoration that used to be on the ground, and but it's just so, the square is so different now. But I think it's like the first, when it was finished now, oh my God, that's it. Trying to manoeuvre now, all, I suppose, like a lot of people. But I'm used to it now, and I think it's grand. It's definitely easier to cross the square now.
And but back then, I mean, as you said, the fair was there every week, or whatever. It was, a lot of the old shops will be gone now, wouldn't they?
Oh, for God's sake, they are. A lot of the old shops are gone now.
And can you remember some of the old characters that were there at that time?
On the square now.
Yeah, around the square, the main street area.
Oh. I can remember Morrissey's Butchers. Actually, I think that's where Liam Rossiter is now. Just above it, there was a pub. Catherine Crotty's. Catherine, I think, is still alive. There was a pub there. O'Brien's had a sweet shop, and just on the corner of the square, what's there now? Bernard Welch's tobacco shop. It was small and narrow, but it was cigarettes, snuff, you name it. Going up along. Can't. The VG, well, that's gone now. Actually, thinking now before the VG, the leader office, that was forever there. McCarthy's around us. On the corner of the square. Actually, it's all Michael Curran's. Oh yeah, Michael Curran's hardware was on that side too. But across on the right hand corner, it's all closed up now. Michael Curran's had a.
And was the creamery there at that stage?
The creamery.
Yeah.
It was. That was over. Do you know the entrance from the square now, going into the plaza, into the shopping centre? I think the creamery gate was there. It was all over as
And then do you remember the leather factory then when that was there?
Oh yeah, sure. My brothers worked there. Half the town worked in the leather factory. Oh, I can.
And that was tough work, wasn't it?
It wasn't easy. There was actually a great series on the leader a couple of months back. Eddie Cantwell. It was brilliant. I don't know why the man never even didn't do a book. It was brilliant. And told about, there was characters there too. He had photographs of them and what happened and what didn't happen. And
did you ever go down around there to have a look at it? Did you ever go down there to have a look at the old leather factory when it was open?
Well, I was never actually in there now, but I was often down around the lookout swimming pool. We used to go down to the swimming pool. For God's sake.
Were you a good swimmer?
Was I good? I was a great swimmer, like a stone. Like a stone, you used to have swimming galas and.
Where did you meet boys when you were young? Like, where was it? Was there dances and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, the hops in the town hall. Oh, so that was the place to go. The Dungarvan Theatre, what's it called now? Dungarvan, it's up above the museum. Oh, that was the place to go then, the hops. And everybody met everybody at the hop. That's where all the romance started from. Unfortunately, not for myself. But I'm all happy out. Yeah. We still.
And then, how did you end up working in the cinema?
Probably, I can't pinpoint it now. It must have been somebody said the cinema's open or they're looking for somebody in the cinema. I don't know, but when initially now when I did work there, I just worked in the ticket office, and that was it. That was my time done. But Mrs. Palby, I said to the woman now, you couldn't go home. You were working in the cinema and you had to stay until the cinema was ended. So I can remember well one Stephen's night. So Stephen's night back then was a big night. Oh God, you're all of something, dig it up and everything. There was a dance down the town hall and Rita was going to the dance. I was all kind of ready. I was going from the cinema to the town hall. So I was coming up the steps from the downstairs, and Mrs. Felby happened to come out the and she said, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to town hall, Mrs. Felby." "Oh, I'm afraid you're not." She said, "You can't, you're not finished yet." "Well, Mrs. Felby, I'm sorry." I said, "I'm going to the dance." And she kind of looked at me. I think nobody ever... She was a nice lady, but she was strict, I suppose, like everybody else in. But I just went off out the door and went to the dance, and I just thought to myself, I'd probably get the bullet now tomorrow night, but I didn't. But, you know, there was things you did and things you didn't do, and things you got away with and things you didn't get away with, you know. But...
And the cinema was down by the bridge at that stage, was it?
Pardon?
The cinema was down by the bridge.
Initially, but I never worked there now. I was in there, all right, but I never worked there. It was when, sure, there was, my brother, I met him, Pedro, he was, actually, he did photography in Dublin. And I can remember one time he asked me, was there any, I think the shutters he called them, they were, I don't know how you'd use them then, but there was hundreds and hundreds of shutters, you know, that probably they you show the films with, buried under the floor of that building. Hundreds of them. But back then nobody thought, you know.
And then, do you remember when you were working there, what were the films like back, you know, at the start? What did you show like?
Oh, cowboys and Indians and detectives and every Sunday you go to the matinee and you just have a serial maybe for about 15, 20 minutes. And we just get really excited, maybe a Roy Rogers or Avalon Cassidy, and to just get to the exciting stage and bang, stopped. You'd have to go back the next week to see. You'd have to go back the next week to see what happened. But there was so many different people. There was one stage then. You went upstairs to the left. That was the only way getting up to the balcony. You went downstairs to the fire, and there was a separate entrance then for the gods. You'd have to go down along this big corridor down to the gods. But so that a position that height between the gods and we'd say the middle. You could light to go out accidentally on purpose, like hop over the barrier and you'd end up. Then there was another stage. They changed the entrance to the balcony. Inside the door, the downstairs part, stairs to the right, stairs to the left. And there was somebody at either end checking tickets. But then again, so we knew it was happening. But we were powerless like to do anything about it, just don't take any notes of it. You could end up going down the gods. You'd hop over the... Maybe you mightn't be brave enough to do the first side, but when you look around probably, half up the stairs. You know, I can remember there was 1 or 2 nights, the balcony was full. I sold you 2 tickets, you went up. No seats, the balcony is full. But the balcony couldn't be full. But it actually was. It was full from a few characters from downstairs, you know. There was another stage then. Sorry. There was no chips allowed. It would draw mice. But sure, there was a few mice around anyway, like before the chips ever came in. Half of them used to get away with it. Somebody would go in and you said, "I smell chips." They might have the bag of chips in their pockets. But there was one character, actually he's still alive. He came in one night and I said, "Look, I'm terrible." He had a bag of chips and you knew by him he was enjoying them. I said, "I'm terrible sorry." I said, "You cannot bring in chips." "Ah, gosh," he said. "No, sorry." I said, "No, you'll have to eat them." So he went outside, and I tell you now, he wasn't outside 30 seconds and he was in again. "Now, Rita," he says. I said to myself, there's still a wicked smell of chips, but as far as I could see, there was no. But he told the story the next day, and it was the story now travelled. I couldn't retell it now as he told it. He went outside, put the bag of chips up in his head and put on his cap. Oh my God, he said. Here I'm telling it. I was nearly blind going in, he said. There was blooming grease running down, he said, my eyes. He went out, put the bag of chips up and said, put on the cap. But I could never retell it like he did. And that character is still alive.
Would you have to go in there with the flash lamp and chase people and all that?
I sure we used. Like, maybe at times we did our job too good. You know, like if someone giggled, take your legs off the seat. Someone might be maybe, there was never real badness in anyone there. Never real blackguard. It was just more, see, a Catholic, if you like. You were out. You'd be either pushed out or you'd come back the next night. You wouldn't be left in. Oh, we hunted people out and we left them in and we didn't leave them in. And it was, they were good times too.
And did you have any favourite, TV, film actors or any yourself from way back? Nobody in particular. I used to love as I said, the Western Ray Rogers and Dale Evans and what's his name, Hopalong Cassidy. And I know I love, actually to this day, I watch television all day. I watch television all day. And then when we'd be finished in the office, we could go inside, a big treat, and sit down and watch the rest of the film. John Hogan, the night of heaven to him, and his wife worked there, Kitty Flynn, Pat Flynn, and his father, Mickey. They were up in the projection box. The father, I think Pat is still alive now. What part of the country he's in, I don't know. And Eileen Power, when the location of the shop changed, she worked in the shop. She's still alive. I'd say now, Eileen Power, myself, Pat Flynn. Way back, Shawnee Condon, I think he worked there for a while, and Dick Ahern, down he lives down in Bordinatroe now. He worked there for a while. As I said, if I had stopped and thought, and all of a sudden, but I can still see the cinema in the front of that building below. But I suppose the younger generation wouldn't understand the fact that people didn't have televisions.
No, we used to have, there was one particular couple and they had a particular seat upstairs, jumbo seats we called them then, we got a little bit grand, there was, at either side, there was three double seats in the row. And this particular couple, maybe I used to go down around 7, John Hogan, I said go down around 7 to open up. This particular couple would be standing at the door waiting. They had the outside seat, the double seat, and they would not sit anywhere else. But I suppose to cut it short, whatever happened this night anyway, they came in, they went upstairs, came down. Rita, our seat is gone. I said, I'm terrible sorry, lads. I said, but sure, there's plenty of seats there. Rather than sitting on the other seat, both of them went home. Yeah, both of them went home. They did. What?
Creatures of habit.
Creatures of habit. They were real lovebirds. I think in later years they got married, but they were real creatures of habit.
I suppose that was a place where people went on dates, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To the cinema.
See, mostly now at weekends, there'd be a queue for downstairs now. The left-hand side of the door, from the door, right up to the beaches, should have all houses up there now, nearly up to the brewery. And on the right-hand side, there'd be another queue for the balcony, way down past Molly Queely's and that. And what is that? If you weren't down early, maybe it should all depend, I suppose, on the films. If you weren't in the queue early, you just mightn't get in. But there was nothing else there then. There wasn't even the what you call them, the
videos.
The videos then. Yeah. Oh no, you'd go down and as I said, you'd say, oh my God. When you turn the corner of Woolton Road, you could see the end of the queue. No, I won't say now every night, but a lot of nights.
And do you ever remember any films that kind of caused a bit of a sensation?
Oh no. Cause a bit of a sensation to the viewers, or
yes.
Not really.
No, because there was big censorship, wasn't there, back in those days?
Oh yeah. Oh, there was a time then there was films over 18, over 16, under 12s accompanied. Sure. That was the boola back then.
But if there was anything too risque now, it would be cut, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh, then you'd never see any. There was never any naughty bits then. It was, as you said, all censored. But so and so would come in. Sorry, you can't go. You're not 18. Oh, I am 18. No, sorry, I said you're not 18. And he or she would either win the argument, be left in, or else they'd be hunted out. You might come in an adult now. You might come in as a youngster, 15 or 16, and sure, I often saw it happening. One, you'd give them you upstairs. They'd run upstairs, and you come over and get the 2 tickets. 2, I said. Are you on your own? I know he's gone over to Butler's for a few sweets. He'll be back in a minute. And all those little things, like, I suppose at times, a lot of them, it was great. We got in tonight, lads, we fooled her, like, and other nights then, they didn't get in. They got in tonight, didn't get tomorrow night, and vice versa.
And did you ever have the people going around selling, ice cream or that in there?
No. Oh God, no. No, because I can remember initially the place to go on the way to the cinema was Morris Butler's. It was a little shop just across the road. You come in with your bags of sweets, and his son is actually having now. He did like great business. The cinema kept his business going.
Yeah.
No, I can't say now that. No, I can never remember a time when, while I was there anyway, never nobody from the company went around selling.
But there was a sense of magic about it, wasn't there?
For God's sake. It was great to be associated with it. And people would maybe this evening now or tomorrow or the weekend, you'd meet people that had been at the cinema, and they'd come over and talk to you about it. And it would mean so much. Or they're going, why the hell did you keep me out last night? You know, but to this day I get slagged over it. Oh, all friendly banter now, you know. No, it was. There was something about it. I can't describe. Undescribable. It was that little indescribable now. The atmosphere and it was great. A sense of satisfaction working there when people is that people remember you. You know, from the good times and the bad times, from when you left them in and when you didn't leave them in, but there was nothing else to do then. There's nothing else to do then.
And did you have cheaper rates for people if they weren't working?
No.
Okay.
No. No, it was one price for downstairs, one price for balcony, one price for downstairs, one price for the gods. Okay. To me, the change they made pushing the stairs up to the balcony from inside was, I suppose, money-wise, they probably lost out because they eventually, the characters eventually realised they could get up to, they could end up in the balcony if they wanted to, after paying, you know.
What year did you start in the cinema?
Oh, now. Oh, you have me now.
Roughly.
Oh, God. If I'd known that now...
What was the first film you remember?
The first film I think that was played in that cinema now before I worked there. Meet Me in St. Louis. What was? Now I'd be telling you a lie now if I
And was it mostly black and white at the start?
Oh, black and white.
And do you remember when it went into colour?
I can remember, but year-wise now
I know, yeah. And that must be magic for people, was it?
It was back then, going from black and white to colour, it was like a person winning the lotto now. You know, oh my God. But there's still something about the black and white films that... The colour films, actually, they took a bit of getting used to. But I know I never regretted working there, and when I did leave it, I missed it for a while. But when I passed the cinema, when I'd be walking downtown, the houses in front, across the road from the cinema, I'd have to stop there for a minute to sit and edge and look over, but it was actually closed then. It was gone then.
And can you remember, like, was there many? You said you get a lot of slagging now, right? You know, good slagging, right? But would you remember a lot of messers back then when you were like little fellas that were messing, trying to get in for nothing and all this kind of stuff? Would you remember them now? Like, would you remember what they were like back then?
Oh, there's a few characters now I'd often get the... I actually was downtown one day. I had an appointment down in for the appointment, and the person that was, you know, part of the group of the appointment, and I was asked a question. Actually, it was down to the doctor's house. Rita, do you remember the time you kept putting me out of the cinema? Actually, I don't, I said. But sure, I wouldn't have put you out unless you were naughty. But I wasn't naughty, but you must have been. Then they tell me you did your job too well and you didn't do it well enough. And I know, there's still a few people that used to come in then. I know one or two of them. There was one lad that lived across the road from the cinema. And he used to come over every night and start talking to me and this and that and the other thing. And he was generally like, he was like the neighbours, you could tell. But he came over this particular night. It was pouring rain. And he had a comic. And he sat, there was the little porch now where the box office was then. He sat in the corner there, reading the comic. Now, he was out of the way, he wasn't doing anybody any harm. So he had the comic finished anyway, and he stood up. I was sitting in the box office. He came over. Now, he wasn't being, he was just genuine. Rita said, would you buy that off of me? He said. Oh, yeah. All those little things.
Oh, he was trying to get into the cinema, was he?
No. He was finished with the comic. It was wet coming in. He was finished with the comic. He didn't want it anymore. But I suppose rather than throw it away, Rita, would you buy that off me? I know. There's, I suppose now, to take me another couple of hours on to all sorts, to come back to me. But so that's the way it is now, and I'm still mobile.
And tell me, did they ever have concerts in the cinema?
Pardon?
Did they ever have concerts in the cinema?
There was, actually at the moment I'm involved in Score. You ever hear of Score? It's the, I suppose for the better way of putting it, the cultural end of the GA. It's all competition, like all. But there was Score held up there. There was a huge stage. I don't know that a lot of people realise it. There was a huge stage behind that screen. There was it was competition like Irish dancing and singing and instrumental music and that. And there was a period then. There was a lady, herself and her husband are dead now, Mary O'Gorman. She lived downtown. At the right-hand side, before the curtains go back, there was a piano. And she used to play the piano maybe for 15, 20 minutes or so before the film would start. I remember that. It would have made a brilliant theatre. And at the right and the left-hand side, there was toilets just for downstairs only. It would have made a brilliant theatre, but sure, nobody was in that mindset back then. Yeah, she was playing the piano for 15, 20 minutes. And I said that to somebody someday. And they couldn't remember that.
So it was like a warm-up act before the film.
To get you, I suppose, in the mood for the film.
That was lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was grand. A lot of people don't remember that, but I do.
And then the cinema too wouldn't be open on Good Friday. What is it on Good Friday? Would it be closed? Would it be closed during Lent, or would it be open?
No.
Okay.
And we used to have. There was at one stage then. We used to have late shows, starting at 11:30, 12, 11, 11:30. We used to have late shows, and they were a great treat for a while. They were brilliant.
Would you have to be very strict for those?
Oh, yeah. So, to a certain, But actually, they started to, phase away, but go out a bit then. I think at that stage, the videos and that were coming in. We go down to open for the late show, and if there was only X number of people there, it should be up to me to make the decision, will we have a late show, won't we have a late show? Sometimes we'd go ahead and other times we wouldn't. Maybe other times if we didn't go ahead, we could have went ahead and, it was a nice kind of, being honest, I suppose, it was a night off for us as well. But, no, it was... the whole town has changed now. The whole town has changed now. But as you said, they are getting from the cinema back. I remember the leather factory well. I never went and tried any part of it. But I could see the men, going from A to B, and by God, they did work hard. They did work hard. And I can the memories, as I said, of the square and the way house and the PODs and the horse fairs.
And where did you work after the cinema?
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. I had a dog, a bit of Cocker Spaniel. He used to come down to the cinema with me every night and walk up home with me. And there was a cat, the cinema cat. We'd leave him out in the morning. I used to have to go down in the morning, you know, to sort out the books and that, and leave the cat out in the morning. And faithfully, you could pass up and down the cinema a couple of times a day and you'd never see the cat. But the minute the doors would open at night, the cat would just walk in down the steps. He knew where to go. Yeah.
And would you have to change the posters every day and all that kind of stuff?
Actually, there was what would you call it? A veranda out over the door, and it was lit up. John Hogan, he used to have to go up on the ladder. We had letters, big letters from A to B, and the name of the film, we say just for it's Roy Rogers. He had to go up the ladder with all the, leave him on the roof and put the name, and that would be illuminated. And at either side of the door, then there was on the wall posters, big huge posters in a little frame. That's where he'd hang on the wall as well. Perspex in front of him, but should the perspex just be broken and the things? We gave that up. I think it was actually they progressed from the posters on the wall up to the name being lit up.
The letters.
Always had to, like, sometimes now the film might run for one night, very seldom, 2 nights, 3 nights. He might have to change the letters, the name of the film, 2 or 3 times a week, and he might only have to change it once a week. But the speed ladder was put up again the say the word for me.
I know, at the front, the
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
And he'd lay he'd have to go up and down maybe a couple of times for all the letters. He'd leave them up on the little roof, then put his hand up and push in one and then put in the next one and move the ladder and... Oh yeah, but there's all...
And have you been to the new cinema?
I have. I went a couple of... Oh my God, the difference. And the comfort and... I haven't been there now in a while, but all I said now, a few times I went in there, it's a pity if anyone, abuse it or abuse the furniture or anything like that. It is beautiful. It was actually needed. But
and it's nice to see the cinemas back popular again.
Oh, it is, yeah, very popular.
Because it went out of... When
it went out of favour for I suppose the fact now that you can choose so many, there's 4 screens there? 1, 2, 3, 4 screens I think, yeah. And it did go out of favour for a while, but it's something you, like the cinema now, the SGC, it's something new, it's a progression from the old cinema too.
Yeah.
I mean, they show live performances now for...
I know, opera and all sorts of
the whole lot. Yeah, I've been down to 1 or 2 of them, and it's just unbelievable.
Incredible, yeah.
Unbelievable, the sound, and then you'd be down the old cinema. You might be in the middle of a film, sitting down, and the film would break. That's Brian. And Pat was to take Pat maybe a couple of minutes to whatever way he was fix the film together and
splice it together.
You'd be hoping and hoping what's happening, and eventually he'd get it going again.
There'd be lots of shouting.
Oh, for God's sake, what are you doing? What are you doing? Come on, come in, Brian. I'm still talking, Brian. He won't let me stop.
It was all good crack, wasn't it?
Oh, it was fun. It was. I suppose looking back on it now, maybe we did just taking the cinema now on the torch and not leaving people in and putting them out. Maybe we did it. If it's wrong, maybe we did our job too well. We thought now, maybe because we had that little bit of power, maybe. If you don't do this now, I'm going to, I suppose you could look at it all in so many different ways. But it was good. I can never say I got fed up working there. I never did. I never did now. I
suppose the films changed all the time, didn't they?
Oh yeah. And the films then, they were in those big steel boxes. And Mickey Flynn, Lord have mercy, when the film was over, if it was being sent on to, we'd say, Youghal the next day, he'd have to pack them up and he'd hawk them down from the projection room down 2 flights of stairs and push them in the little room. And he'd have to come down the next morning. He had his truck, a big truck. He put the films on it and wheel them down to the bus to send them on to wherever. Okay. No, it was... actually, it was more hard work for the projectionists than as regards to hawking of the films. But there used to be a lorry come with the films from wherever. Like, suppose there was a film shown in Youghal last night, to be brought from Youghal to here for tonight and vice versa.
And in those days too, people used to smoke cigarettes in the cinema, didn't they?
Oh yeah. They smoked for Ireland and England. Sure, there was... the seats were decorated with cigarette burns and cigarette butts and... Oh yeah. Oh, there was no such thing as... there was... ashtrays on the back of the seat in front of you. And sure, the ashtrays would be overflowing and you'd have to check 1 or 2 nights. You might find about still... You'd have to go through all the rows definitely every night to check the ashtrays. 1 or 2 nights you might pick up a butt that'd be still smouldering. But, for God's sake.
Health and safety, huh?
Oh, health and safety. Oh, for God's sake. It wouldn't have survived if there was health and safety there then. And every so often the steps from the back of the balcony down, there was, on the edges of them, now there's lights and strips of this and that, there was just felt. A bit of felt this way. And every so often you'd have to go up with your tin of paint and kneel down and paint them white again. They'd be gone black and dirty, and that was the only way you could distinguish the steps from one to the other, This was all... You always had to have a tin of white paint on already. Every so often, up and paint the steps.
Rita, thanks very much for all that.
Sure. You're more than welcome. I hope that...
No, it's great to get all those memories back again of the cinema.
Yeah.
Because the cinema was very important for people, wasn't it?
And I'll be here now this evening. I say, oh my God, look, I never thought of that. It was the only social outing that they had, actually. It was the only social outing they had then. And if there was a film now that there's a film now, lads, that's going to be good, you have to be down there early. You would get the other, the cinema would be full. You would have to turn people away. But the only thing that didn't last were the late shows. Do you ever remember them, Brian?
I do indeed, yeah.
The late shows, they kind of...
It was a fad.
Yeah.
It's always come up with drunk and everything from you.
You're more than welcome. I hope that I kind of added to your
Thanks a million for that. Really appreciate
you're more than welcome.
Change all
To
them.
change all those.
One by one,
He'd bring up a few, leave them up on the roof, bring up a few more, and then, and you see them, there's an awful pity of them. They were the nicest
Yeah.
laid
windows.
that you ever saw. There was John Hogan, Mrs. Hogan, Mr. McCarthy, and yours truly hiding behind.
That's you at the back there.
Yeah.
Alright.
And there'd be youngsters swinging on the bars.
Outside.
You'd have to come out and hunt them, and you can see the space in the space in front, like inside the bars, is only for staff cars, which I hadn't a car then, or one or two had. But you get the odd person driving in there, which they naturally wouldn't.
Yeah.
You just have to go out and tell them they can't park there, but sure. You can see the queue starting now, look. But that queue went all the ways from there, right up to the beaches. Brian, give him a kick.
Oh, we'll show you the place on the way down where they've actually
And
built
just
houses there.
inside the doorway, then the little box office was. Progressed then over to the side, and
young Ward Anderson, you said bought out.
Ward Anderson bought the cinema. Paul Ward, I can remember the name, Paul Ward and Kevin Anderson. They bought the cinema from Mrs. Falvey.
Okay.
It was solely owned by Mrs. Falvey, and I suppose they were expanding their business. And
So they bought up most of the cinemas in Ireland, didn't they?
they bought most of the cinemas in Ireland. Paul Ward and Kevin Anderson actually knocking down now the old one.
Oh God,
Yeah.
such a shame, isn't it?
It's an awful shame actually, but that's progress here. Brian, you pick that up in here.
And this man here, he was the projections. Was it this man here?
No.
Okay. John Joe Manny, it says there.
No.
Okay.
Actually, there's no photographs now of the
Of the projections.
Mrs. Falvey. Like she still lived in town after selling the cinema. She actually had a little house across the road from the Greer Garson, Mrs. Miniver. And she said, now that is a bit of I remember that now. That is a bit of a strong name. No, I won't say I can remember that. I can't.
And there's a picture of you here at the opening of the new cinema.
That's me then, if you read it here now. That's Graham Spurling now, that's
He owns the new place.
yeah.
Okay.